Oh, hey there, spooky listener. Good news. You still have some time before the episode starts if you want to scroll up and hit that follow or subscribe button, depending on whatever platform you're listening to this on. We have no preference, they're all good. If you're feeling really generous, you can even leave us a little review. We like 5-star ones the best. And tell us why you like the podcast. If you don't like the podcast, that's cool, but why are you listening? There's loads of other stuff to listen to out there. If you want to send us a little more detailed feedback, we have a dedicated email address. It's rowanandpinepod@gmail.com. The and is spelled out, so it's Rowan, A-N-D, pinepod@gmail.com. And also, please use that for spooky stories and encounters and stuff that you just want us to talk about on the pod. And failing all that, if email's not really your thing, you can always find the links to any of our socials in the link tree that's in the description of every episode. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Discord, whatever it is that you like to use. And make sure to tag us if you're recommending the pod. Also memes. Did you get all that? Good. Okay, start the intro music. Welcome, people.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, November. It's November now. Do you remember October? That's gone. Now it's November.
Yeah, R.I.P. October.
R.I.P. October. It's Scorpio season.
It feels like it flew by because we were so busy. We just had stuff going on constantly.
Yeah, do you know what? It was really weird to not have something to edit there for a week. I was normally in the back of my mind, I'm like, I have to edit. Just waking up in the middle of the night.
What do I do?
What am I editing? Just recording voice clips and editing them just for something to do,
Editing for the sake of editing.
Yeah. Scratch that itch.
Also, everybody clap for Neve because she's the editor and she's the best.
I'll clap for myself because otherwise it just sounds like awkward silence. Everyone's like, not clapping.
People are driving their cars and clapping. I know they are.
It's like lockdown all over again when people were clapping for
nurses and stuff.
Yeah.
Healthcare workers.
Yeah, because that was a lot easier than giving them a pay rise.
Yeah. Well, there's only so much us people in our little houses can do about that.
I know.
So the least we could do was clap for them.
Yeah.
I was sad that I didn't live in a place where that happened. I mean,
Neither did I.
It happened downtown, but I'm not downtown, so.
Yeah. It was it feels like a faux pas to say, but do you ever get nostalgic for certain parts of lockdown? When you knew you weren't missing anything because everybody was at home.
To be. Oh, yeah, I guess maybe a little bit of that. But I'm not nostalgic for it, in general.
Yeah, the whole fearing for our lives and our families' lives and all of the conflict that was going on between ideologies, that was shit. But it was kind of nice to see everybody else was in the exact same situation that you were. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it ruined my wedding.
That's true.
That still made me bitter. Somebody, I don't remember who it was, but people recently were talking about their weddings, and it was kind of oh yeah, blah blah blah, and I feel like they kind of looked at us. And then it was we don't remember that because we didn't have a wedding.
Yeah.
And then I just get bitter about it all over again. I'm I just don't even want to talk about the fact. I'm we're married. There was no wedding. It is. It just happened one day. We were married or we were not married and now we are.
Yeah. I think it's it's the thing too that's there's so much buildup before a wedding. So then when it's sort of anticlimactic like yours was. That's really hard to deal with.
Yeah. And I spent so much time planning.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've talked about this before on the show. It's clearly that I need to... I mean, I have talked about it in therapy, but maybe I need to revisit it. It's just always coming up.
Do you remember my wedding? But I don't know if we said this on the show before though, but I am of the opinion that there's no such thing as a bridezilla. This whole thing of oh, she's such a bridezilla because she's been demanding and all of this kind of stuff. Fair enough. Some people can be kind of bitches.
I was going to say, are you sure about that?
Well, maybe it's not that there's no such thing as a bridezilla, but it's that what do you expect when you socialize little girls to be told that this is the biggest day of their life?
Yeah.
Their entire childhood, and it's going to be the best thing that'll ever happen to them, and their whole life will change on this one day.
Yeah.
And so she's trying to have a little bit of control over it. And then when things aren't going to plan, she doesn't take it well. Like, what do you expect? You know?
Yeah, that's true.
Especially if
I
you
think-
come from like a really conservative background, I think, where, you know, your whole like existence is to serve your husband or whatever crap that
To
they tell
become
them.
a man's property.
Yes, chattels.
Yikes.
Yeah. How did we get onto this?
I don't know.
The rants have started
I just,
early.
like,
It's 5 minutes in.
I don't know if you saw it on my face, but my brain just went into like all these different directions about like the patriarchy and weddings, and I just like short circuited. I was just like, oh God.
I will say though, like I remember before gay marriage was legalized, there was this like very famous Tumblr post that was going around, and they're like, it was like right at the tail end of the recession, and it's like, we have 2 words that will solve the economy: gay wedding. Yeah. That would just be so fabulous.
You're right. My brain just went in more directions too. I was just like, wow, yeah. Thinking about the recession and thinking about how awful everything was and how it was like nobody had any money.
Oh yeah. And it was a weird
It's
time to be
terrible.
like in your early 20s during that too. Like in my hometown, so in Ireland you can't buy like tall boys in a bar, like tall boy cans of beer or
Yeah.
anything like that. I don't know if you can where you are. I know you can in Canada or in Ontario anyway. And you could just drink cans of beer in a bar, which is very strange.
Yeah.
But in my hometown, we had a place called the Recession Bar. And it was basically like
oh no.
a carry-out off license with like fridges. And they just had benches outside. Because they knew that people couldn't afford to pay pub prices, but they would pay like
Yeah.
off license, like retail prices. So you could just go buy like a
Wow.
bag of cans and like just sit with your friends drinking at the
That
Recession
is
Bar.
hilarious. Wow.
It was also like a fun pun because the Irish like term for drinks and like having like kind of like an informal party is a session. So that whole thing was the recession.
That is really funny. What a coincidence.
Yeah, it was like we invented it.
Yeah.
There was also this whole thing like we're going to session through the recession. That was like a catchphrase too.
Oh no.
It's because like you could go out and get drunk like on like €25 and
Yeah.
still have like money for like your chips at the end of the night or
Right.
whatever the hell it was.
That's the funny
well,
thing
I could
about-
get drunk for €25.
That's the funny thing about it is that like nobody had any money and everybody wanted to drink because they had no money.
Yeah. I was like, what else are we going to do? We can't go like on like a holiday. We can't
Yeah.
like, you know, buy a house or anything. Let's just like go get drunk with our friends.
Yeah. That would have been so nice to buy a house at that moment.
Oh, yeah. Imagine.
Such a shame
When it
that I
had,
was
like-
poor.
Quintupled in price by now.
Right? Oh my god. Anywho, we should probably talk about that's actually a good segue because my episode today is about house spirits.
Ooh.
So, I wonder how those house spirits were doing in the recession.
If you couldn't tell from my my noise, I didn't know what her episode title was.
I thought you did.
No, you didn't tell me, and I was like, "Do you know what? I'm not
Oh.
going to ask her because I like to be surprised."
Secrets.
So house spirits for the recession was probably probably affected them a lot because I bet a lot of people were buying fixer-uppers.
You're right. And then they needed house spirits to help them.
Yeah, and they're like, "Why are these people moving into my shack? That's my hole in the attic. Stop covering
Oh.
it up."
Do you know anything about house spirits?
No.
Oh, really?
No. You're saying that like you're going way in the wrong direction. Do you actually know anything about this?
No, it sounded like you knew what you were talking about. So I was like, oh, maybe she knows a lot about this.
No.
Well,
This is good.
let me tell you. I messed this up.
Unforgivable. This is live. Imagine.
Oh my God. We would be a mess. I would be a mess for sure.
I would be a mess. When people do like, sometimes I'll listen to podcasts and it's very clear that they did no editing. They just like talked and I'm like, how? I have to cut out all my awkward laughs.
Yeah. I have to, and I just like, every time I fumble because we talked about this, how you more like write bullet points and I write like what I'm going to say, because otherwise I will get lost. I'll be like, what? Yeah. Wait, what?
I do bullet points and pull quotes, but I think that goes back to like giving presentations in college.
Yeah.
Because my lecturers used to be like, don't write everything. It more pertains to like if you're standing in front of people, like giving a presentation.
Right.
Not
You don't
so
want
much
to just
for a
like
podcast.
read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lecturers used to be like, don't put the whole paragraph on your slide or else you'll just stand there with your back to everybody reading it. So I think I just got used to bullet points then.
Yeah. That's so nice. I wish I could do that. I just don't have confidence at all.
We're going to build up your confidence. Everybody write to Emily and say she's great.
She's not, though. It's fine. A house spirit or a household deity is a common belief in paganism and in various countries all over the world. The belief is that there is a spirit, whether someone who is deceased or a spirit who never inhabited a physical form, who protects the household or certain parts of the household, such as the kitchen or livestock.
Did you hear like a slam?
Is that you? Yeah.
It was my house spirit. It was you and going to the bathroom.
Oh, that's so funny, because as you'll learn, a lot of these house spirits do make like knocking noises on doors and stuff to get the attention of the people in the house. So that's really interesting. So household spirits are generally benevolent, though sometimes a house spirit can be an agent of chaos, though they typically act out if they're not being treated well or offered food or gifts.
Me too.
There are also some who believe that the house itself has a soul and that you must respect it, speak to it, and perform certain rituals to express gratitude.
I also act out if I'm not treated well or given gifts.
Or food.
Yes, definitely
Feed me, damn it.
I used to like not think that I got hangry, and then like at like my old job where it would be like, say we get really busy and it would be lunchtime and I'd find myself just absolutely like flying off the handle at the most basic innocent request from a customer.
Right.
And I would just be like, Neve, maybe you should have lunch.
Well, yeah, when your basic needs aren't being met, it's hard to be a person.
Yeah, turn into a different person.
Right. What was I going to say? One of my favorite podcasts, she has she started dating this guy, and she was like, he's so sweet and stuff like that, and like I'll be acting out and crying and stuff and getting really upset about things, and then he'll just be like, hey, like, it's okay, like I think you maybe just need a snack. And she was like, if anybody else said that to me, I would get so pissed off. She was like, but he just like would realize that maybe I'm actually just hungry and that's why I'm getting upset. And she was like, and it works every time.
Yeah, it's annoying when they're right.
Right. It's like, damn it, you were right. I did need a snack.
Yeah. I am just cranky because I'm tired.
Yeah.
Like an infant.
Yeah. So the first house spirit that I want to talk about is called the domovoi. The domovoi is a household spirit in Slavic mythology, and it has roots in ancestor worship. Sometimes it appears as an old man or woman. Other times he appears as cats, bears, or other creatures that are considered protectors in Slavic folklore.
Okay, big difference between an old man and a bear.
Right. I know some of these are like, it could be like this, or it could be like this completely other unrelated thing. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Or you're like, oh no, it's okay. The bear's going through our trash, but it's the house spirit and it's just a bear.
Yeah.
Just could smell dinner.
It's our house spirit who just wants some snacks. He's hangry. He might also look like the founder of the household or most significant ancestor. But oftentimes the domovoi appears as a gnome-like creature with big eyes, a long gray beard, and hair. His clothing is often indicative of local traditions. He is said to also be very hairy with hair everywhere, even on the palms of his hands and the soles of his feet. The only spot that's not covered in hair is the space around his eyes and nose.
Oh.
He's
a
like hairy boy.
He's a hairy boy. Imagining just like a pair of eyes looking at you.
Yeah.
From the end of your bed.
Inside of a mop.
Oh, God. Yeah, you open the closet to get your like a Hoover out and you're like, whoa, there he is.
Just hair, a whole hairball.
Yeah, clogging up your drains.
So if there are no men in the house, or if the head of the household is a woman, then the domovoi is represented as a woman.
Oh.
So a hairy woman, I guess.
Hairy woman. Good for her.
hairy woman.
Haunting round my house, hairy woman. I'll leave some biscuits out, hairy woman.
That was a good one. It is believed that in many families that the domovoi is the soul of all of the deceased family members, and that like all of them at once. So that when a family member would build a new house, the eldest family member would go in first, because the first to enter the house would be the first to die.
Oh.
So they would become the domovoi. I don't think they would die right away, but they would be the first one to kick the bucket in the household.
So, like, I suppose, like, it's logical and it's rational because you're like, that's the way you hope that these things happen. But it's also like,
right.
There you go, Granny.
I was going to say, Grandma, you're going in.
Go in and walk around. And she's like, ugh, fine. It's like, I'm definitely haunting your ass. But it also, like, it puts a lot of pressure on the real estate agents because, like, your family's going to haunt whatever house they help you buy for generations. So you better like it.
Yeah.
You can't be like, this was our second choice. We didn't even like it, gosh. But now we're stuck here.
Yeah, and Grandma's gonna die and become the domovoi. It's said, though, to prevent somebody dying, the family would often sacrifice a goat, fowl, or lamb and bury it under the first stone or log set for the house, and then they would go without a domovoi. When the oldest member of the family eventually died, they became the domovoi for the house. Yeah.
Just going to say it's just our usual animal cruelty.
Just sacrificing animals.
Sacrificing animals. Goats and lambs.
All for the sake of saving your grandparent.
Yeah. Well, depends how nice the grandparent is. Otherwise, you just take the chance.
Yeah. I loved all of my grandparents, so.
I don't have any left. They're all dead.
So are mine.
Oh.
R.I.P. I love them all, though. Well, one of them I never really met, but my dad tells me I would have really liked him, so I believe him. Anyway, the domovoi never leaves the boundaries of the household and often stays in the hearth, under the doorstep, or near the oven. Oh. When the family moved from one house to another, they would rake out the fire and put the ashes into a jar and bring it with them, saying, "Welcome, grandfather, to the new." But if a house was abandoned, even if it was burned to the ground, the domovoi remained behind to reject or accept the next occupants.
Oh.
It's so sad.
Yeah. I wonder, is that part of like the survey that you have done when you're about to buy a house? Like, just the structural survey? And they're like, yes, the roof tiles are fine, the plumbing's good, but there is a domovoi. He keeps throwing coal at me. You might want to get somebody out to look at that.
Yeah. I like how you call it a survey. We call it an inspection here.
Oh, well, same thing.
Yeah, same thing. Just different names. That was like a survey.
Yeah, it sounds like they're standing outside the front door going, do you like this house? What about you guy across the street? Do you like this house?
I was thinking, they're like, and what do you think of the door on a scale of 1 to 5?
Please follow this link to SurveyMonkey.
The domovoi is generally considered a benevolent spirit, working to protect the people of the household. But this doesn't stop the domovoi from expressing his displeasure with the choices that the family are making. The domovoi likes a clean and organized house. He also doesn't appreciate not being asked when anyone decides to rearrange the furniture. This will make him play pranks or lash out at family members. He will also cause problems with the livestock or cause strange knocks or grating noises in the house. Though there are theories that the knocking noises that come from the domovoi are actually him trying to amuse himself, as he can be entertained easily.
So he's like a baby.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, it made me think of my daughter so much. I'm just like, oh, he's just saying like, knock, knock. The other day she was playing with her toys and then she got like really quiet, and I like went to like check on her, and she was just laying like looking at the palm of her hand and then flipping it and looking at the back of her hand and then looking at the palm of her hand. I was like, yeah, that's your hand. Very interesting.
This is also giving me the vibes of, I don't know what the hell it's from, but have you ever seen that? Like, it's from like it must be like an old gentleman's manual or something. And it's just, you may fascinate a woman with a piece of cheese. Which, yeah, fair enough.
I mean, you're not wrong.
We do like pieces of cheese.
My therapist was just telling me about, because like I'm not supposed to have milk products, and he was telling me about a coworker who was pregnant and became lactose intolerant. And he was like, she had the best quote where she said, "I would rather have never known cheese than to have lost cheese."
Oh my God, I totally agree with her. That would be awful.
Yeah, I feel that because I'm not supposed to eat any milk products and it's so hard. Anywho, the domovoi is the guardian of the family and their wealth, but he prefers people who are hardworking and trustworthy. Family members will leave food near the stove for the domovoi, as well as keep the house clean so as not to upset him. In Slavic folklore, it is believed that the domovoi is one of the hardest working spirits, that if you take good care of him, he will work hard to protect you and to fend off forest spirits from playing pranks on the family and witches from stealing the cows.
Oh, I didn't know witches were known for that.
That's what I'm like, witches steal cows?
What are they doing? Frying up some tenderloins? Getting a good sear?
They're making some delicious Gouda.
Yeah. To fascinate some other women into being witches. We've cracked the code.
We have.
That's how I would be a witch. If like some like goth looking woman came up to me and she's like, "I got some really good cheese." And I'm like, "Your makeup is amazing. Yes, I'm coming with you."
She goes, "Would you like to try this Munster?" You're like, "Yeah."
Yes, I would. I'll go into your van, witchy woman. So what we're getting at here is I'm easy to kidnap.
Oh my God. I just love the quote. "I'll go into your van, witchy woman."
That could be the title of the episode.
On March 30th of each year, the domovoi turns malicious from dawn until midnight, and he must be bribed with food, such as little cakes or a pot of stewed grain. Also sounds like you.
Yeah.
Or me.
Yeah. I think I'm a domovoi.
Tiny cakes? Yes, please.
Tiny cakes, yeah.
Also, do you have cream of wheat in Ireland?
Can you describe it?
It's like porridge. It's like...
Is it like the only thing I'm thinking of is like a rice pudding, which obviously is...
Yeah, it's sort of like that, but it's made with just like, I don't know, like ground up wheat.
And is it like warm or cold?
Warm.
Sounds a little bit like ready break, which is kind of like a porridge that you feed to babies, but it is super like thin and ground up. Like it's almost like, you know the way porridge can have like little lumps?
Right.
It's more like baby food sort of texture. It's so good.
Yeah. That's what the cream of wheat is really good. I'm the only person I know who eats it. Everybody else is like, "Are you 80?
Hey, you like what you like.
I wonder if I was alive in a different time. Because I do like...
I'm gonna look up cream of wheat.
Certain things. Yeah, please do.
Is this like an American thing? Is it a Minnesota thing?
I'm thinking it's like maybe a Scandinavian
thing. Okay,
because...
clearly somebody has been Googling this because the top thing is cream of wheat, Ireland, where to find. Somebody's like, "I need some." You can buy it on americanfood.ie.
Perfect.
Yeah, that looks almost exactly like ready break.
Do you know what that is? Is it like rice based or?
I actually always thought ready break was just like a finely milled porridge, but maybe it's not.
Okay, but what is porridge? Is it like oatmeal?
Oats, yeah.
Okay.
So ready break has now rebranded where it actually says on the front, super smooth porridge oats. So that's what it is, just finely milled porridge for babies. Well, I don't know. Like, I used to eat it when I was, like, very small. Yeah. So I don't know if it's for babies or maybe I was just given it.
That's what I have for our baby. It's just, like, we call it oatmeal, but it's just super, super finely grated.
Yeah. Like, the Ready Break slogan when I was a kid was central eating for kids. Because it used to, like, you know, you have it in the morning and it would keep your tummy warm.
It's like, central eating? Is that similar to central heating?
That was the pun.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Now I want Ready Break, but apparently it's full of sugar, so... I shouldn't have it.
This episode had me looking up porridge recipes because it's like I never knew that I liked porridge, but I like oatmeal and I like cream of wheat and I like all the porridgey things. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, I love porridge.
I'm looking at porridge versus oatmeal. I know I've definitely looked this up. What? Looked this up. Porridge versus oatmeal. You guys have Weetabix too, yeah? Mm-mm. Porridge is made with a variety of whole grains, cereal, or legumes, and oatmeal is made just with oats. Oh. So they threw a load of extra shit in the porridge. This is probably like going back to Victorian times when they used to put sawdust in the bread and all of that. It's like just throw whatever's in there.
Yeah.
Or like
They're just
the very definition of an Irish stew is literally just whatever you have.
I wish I was the type of cook who could do stuff like that, where it's just like you just throw a bunch of shit together and like make something, but I feel like I fall apart. I'm like, oh God, what can I do?
That's my special talent, weirdly enough. Like Ewan's always like, he'll be like, there's nothing for dinner, and then I'll put something together. He's like, wow.
You're like, and a can of corn.
I'm putting everything in this omelet.
Anyway. If you are to move from one household to another, you are supposed to ask the domovoi to come with you. The people who believe in the domovoi believe that he can foresee the future. Because of this, when they hear sobbing or groaning, they believe this means that bad things are on their way. If the domovoi is especially happy, he will sing and dance. This makes people believe that good things, usually money, are coming. It is also said that if you see a domovoi, you will die soon.
Oh. I hate everything about disembodied sobbing. We know this from our Bell Witch episode. I hate any disembodied mouth noises.
All right. Next up on our list, we have the kotihaltia, which is from Finland. This one was crazy to try to research because I felt like I did not understand what was happening, but then I did.
Did you try to learn Finnish?
I did not try to learn Finnish.
It's like the episode's delayed. Emily's learning Finnish.
Yeah, BRB. In common Finnish, depending on the context, haltia means holder, occupant, lord, master, owner, possessor, or bearer. So the term haltia encompasses various supernatural beings associated with different aspects of nature, including forests, bodies of water, trees, rocks, mountains, countrysides, caves, and homes. The kotihaltia is the spirit that oversees the house. The most common and well-known type of haltia is the tantu. The tantu is a creature deeply rooted in Finnish mythology. It belongs to the genus of household elves or dwarves and shares spiritual kinship with English brownies and German gnomes, which are nature spirits. You following me?
Oh, we talked about brownies before.
Yeah. Taking it back to the brownies.
Yeah.
I just hear brownies and then I want a brownie.
Yeah, like I actually have some brownies
food
in the other room. I'm just thinking about that.
Medardo ate the last brownies. I had made some last week and then he ate the last two.
Okay, Medardo, you need to stop making it so hard for me to call you Disney Prince.
It's getting
Eating
harder
brownies
and harder.
is not Disney Prince behavior.
Eating the last ones.
Yeah,
the last two. He didn't even leave one for me. Okay, anyway, I'm over it. The tantu are often depicted as small, bearded, gnome-like humanoids. A tantu is a supernatural being with a strong connection to nature. The word tantu is a word that was adopted and altered slightly from the Swedish word tamta, which I will cover later in this episode. Along with the tantu, the Norwegian and Danish cultures also have the domestic dwarves called the nisa. Tantu is a word derived from the Finnish word tanti and the Swedish word tamt, both meaning plot, as in a plot of land where a family would build their house.
Oh.
You following?
I am following. So it shows that that's like they're environmental based rather than the last one. It was like based on families, like
right.
It was
more
the
ancestral.
Family. Yeah, I thought you said incestual. I was like, whoa.
Also that.
Ancestral, yeah. And then it only became tied to the land when they had laid the first brick of their family home. But this is
right.
Clearly to do with it's almost like they're older than the land or older than what the land is being used for.
Yeah, it's sort of like they're a part of nature and then you build your house there and then they inhabit your house.
Oh. Squatters.
Freeloaders. You just find them yelling, squatters' rights!
Hooking up to your electricity, stealing your Wi-Fi.
Jesus. In Finnish folklore, there are different haltia for different locations or specific purposes. For example, the Mailatantu oversees the work of the mill, ensuring that the mill operates correctly. The Talitantu takes care of the stable and the barn, while the Kirkotantu has duties associated with the church. Kotihaltia, which is a home elf or gnome, is the word for tantu who lives in every home to protect it. It can also be known as the Kotatantu, which can be used interchangeably with the more simple word of Tantu. So, the Kotihaltia, or what I'm now going to call the Tantu, is sort of what you'd expect a house elf or gnome to look like. It's a little old man with a long white beard, a knit hat, and traditional Finnish clothing. These elves, however, do not have pointy ears, as elves are often depicted. Pretty interesting.
So it's not Dobby.
That's the Harry Potter one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he has pointy ears. So
Very
it's
pointy.
not Dobby. Pointy ears, no.
The Tantu are said to live near the hearth or fireplace, on top of the stove, or behind it. They were also said to reside on top of a brick oven, making friends with the house cat who acted as the Tantu's eyes and ears. Which is pretty funny.
All of these creatures love, like, hanging around the fireplace. I guess those are, like, the heart of the home, I suppose. And the kitchen is usually the central part of the home.
Yeah. That's what I thought was so interesting, is, like, all of these are, like, oh, yeah, they're, like, in the fireplace or in the kitchen. It's, like, or, like, in this, like, behind the stove.
Mm-hmm.
So they perform various tasks, such as assisting with chores, helping with the animals on the property, and guarding the household. They are often characterized as grumpy and independent creatures, and because of their temperament, they command respect and fear from those living within the household.
Yeah, you don't want to piss anything off that's going to be, like, hanging out near your food.
Right.
Or possibly your laundry.
The one who's in charge of, like, helping you take care of your household.
Uh-huh. And who has control of your cat.
Yeah. The cat, the eyes and ears. The Tantu are generally helpful, working to protect the family at the residence and bringing good fortune if they are treated well. Most would set a place at the table for the Tantu and offer it the first serving of food. Some would even have an entire room dedicated to the Tantu.
Oh, so those are the rich people.
Right?
This is our Tantu room.
Yeah. A whole room dedicated to a spirit.
Mm-hmm. You can't sit there. Some people have a games room.
The Tantu need to be treated with respect. A family must build a relationship with them by offering it food, being friendly toward it, and not arguing, because the Tantu like quiet. To most people, the Tantu is invisible, but they reveal themselves at night when they come out to assist with household chores. They carry a lantern while they do this.
Cute. Also,
Right?
good luck trying to get your kid to bed when it thinks there's going to be elves coming out. I would definitely have wanted to stay up and see that.
My parents had the hardest time getting me to sleep on Christmas Eve because I wanted so badly to stay up and meet Santa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My parents had to tell me he was invisible. And then somebody in my class said they saw him, and I was like, well, you're lying because he's invisible. So,
well, my mom and dad said.
Yeah. My mom said he's invisible, so.
That's so funny. My mom got mad too because there was one Christmas Eve where I tied string up, and the string like matched the carpet in my bedroom, and I was trying to like trip Santa Claus so that like I had it all like rigged where it would like knock over this little coat rack that I had in my room.
Wow. You're in your like Home Alone era.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like,
Kevin
I will catch
McAllister
Santa. Over here. Historical folklore ascribes some malicious traits to Tantu elves as well. Traditionally, they were regarded as guardians of domestic morals, protectors of property, and helpers within the living space. But if mistreated or witness to intentional human abuses, a Tantu would become punishing, frightening, or even violent. They were known to destroy crops, bring impoverishment to the family, or leave the homestead. In folklore, it is believed that the Tantu are the true owners of a homestead and that they would appear when the first fire was lit. Some legends even suggest that the Tantu were the first fire maker or the original settler. Had you ever heard of the first fire maker?
No.
Me either, but I
really
thought
like that.
Me too. It's super cool because then I went on a tangent and was like reading about it, and it's like, it's like the person who kind of like establishes the house by like building the first fire. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I wish I could have built the first fire in my house. But this house was here long before I ever was. There is also belief that the Tantu was the first relative to pass away within the premises of the home. In certain folklore accounts, Tantu elves were believed to possess and retain the property and management rights of a residential house. The human residents were considered occupants, while the Tantu held true ownership. During the construction of a new house, the tantu was believed to be born when a wooden cross was erected. The cross remained until the walls were raised, at which point it was pulled down and chopped into smaller pieces. The taming of a newly born or recruited tantu often involved making sacrifices, offering gifts, or performing rituals to establish a bond. These offerings were seen as the purchase price of the land, given by the humans to the tantu, creating an implicit contract between the human occupants and the specific tantu. If someone were to see a tantu, it was often considered an omen, symbolizing fortune or misfortune, and sometimes even foreshadowing death, which was similar to the domovoi.
I also like how they're like basic like common law landlords. They just, this isn't your land, this is our
Right.
land. You better like give us offerings and stuff. And treat us well.
Yeah, I actually own this, so
I'm just letting you be here.
Due to society and culture evolving, the Finnish have found themselves not needing the tantu as much. The invention of radiators and the lack of farming have caused the tantu to retire to live with Santa Claus in Korvantunturi, a Finnish equivalent of the North Pole. Though they aren't present in people's homes, they are still celebrated around Christmas time, appearing on cards, wrapping paper, and sometimes people will create a small shrine in their house, putting out food and gifts for the tantu.
That's cute. So like Finnish people, they're like, we're not going to let these foreign elves be the ones helping Santa. They're good old Finnish elves. Sorry, I did that right as you were drinking.
It's okay.
Not these foreigners coming in taking
You're
our
taking
jobs.
our jobs.
Yeah, we want native elves.
Jinx. Oh my gosh. So the next house elves on here are the Nisa, which are from Norway, and the Tamta, which are from Sweden. These are probably the most well-known.
I feel like you've mentioned Tamta like last season on the podcast. Do they have little red hats?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
It's
we mentioned it
basically like-
somewhere around our Christmas episodes, maybe?
Was it when I said stop appropriating gnome culture?
Maybe.
So a Nisa, which is usually Norwegian, and a Tamta, which is usually Swedish, are similar characters, also similar to the Domovoi and the Tantu or the Kotihaltia. The Tamta and the Nissa are both solitary, mischievous domestic spirits responsible for the protection and welfare of the farmstead and its buildings. Tamta's translation means homestead man, and, as I stated before, comes from the word tamt, which means a plot of land that would be used to build a homestead. Nisa is derived from the name Nils, which is the Scandinavian form of Nicholas. A Tamta is described as looking like a small, older man, about the size of a young child. He wears tattered, old clothes, usually gray or navy in color, and wears a bright red pointed cap.
This is gnome culture.
Yes! When people picture a gnome or see the now popularized gnome imagery that appears on products, especially around Christmas time, that is the image of the Tamta.
Wow.
Appropriation of gnome culture.
I'm also surprised that like there aren't, because one thing I noticed, I showed you the video of like the Scottish baby boxes before, didn't I?
No.
So
A baby
it sounds
box.
weird. So like in Scotland, whenever you have a baby, the government sends you this giant box that's big enough for the baby to sleep in, and it's full of like formula and nappies and blankets and little teddy bears and like just basically everything that a baby would need for the first like 3 months of life.
I think you actually did. I think you told me about it, but I haven't seen one.
But the one thing that I've noticed, those went like sort of a little bit viral lately. Every time I see a video about the Scottish baby box, because it's like Scottish women just showing like, oh, let me show you what's in my baby box. The comments are overwhelmingly Finnish people going, we've had that in Finland since the 50s. That's been a thing in Finland since the 50s. We invented that. That's been a thing in Finland since the 50s. It's like, yeah, we get it. Okay, you guys are great. This is Scotland.
It's wonderful. Can you let it move to the west a little bit? And specifically this side of the Atlantic? That would be really nice.
Yeah, like it's such a beautiful idea. I think they're doing it like a pilot scheme here. And it looks like it's identical to the Scottish ones because the boxes are like, they're kind of like, they've got like pictures on the outside of them that like as the baby gets older they can color it in, which is sweet. as well.
Oh, cute. Well, I'm jealous.
Sorry.
I didn't get shit from my government.
I just got
for bills.
some stitches and bills.
Yeah, basically.
That's the name of Emily's rap album.
Here you fucking go. Stitches and bills.
Just raps about motherhood.
Lots of stitches. So, the Tamta lives in a barn or a pantry to watch over the household or the animals. The Tamta and Nissa are very hard workers and do not appreciate interference. If someone had a clean and orderly home, it is believed that a household spirit, such as the Nissa or the Tamta, resided there. They do not need much help from humans. The Tamta only want respect and trust from the people in charge of the farm or household, and a bowl of Yulagrat with butter on Christmas Eve. The Nissa also want to be respected, and they also want lots of butter for their porridge. If they are not treated with respect, they will leave the homestead, causing the farm to fall apart and the family to become impoverished. There's also a tale about a Nissa and his lack of butter on his Christmas porridge.
Wow, they took this butter thing seriously.
Yeah, they were serious about that Christmas porridge.
I'm also curious what butter is like on porridge now.
I know, when I was reading that, I was like, now I gotta try it.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking like if you had butter and a lot of brown sugar, it would be really good.
So good.
Mm-hmm. It's too late for porridge.
I'm like, we both need to like eat some of this now.
Yeah.
I have to eat my like real dinner, but we should, when we do our slumber party thing, we should just have porridge.
Dress up like sleepy time bears and just drink some porridge.
I was gonna say we'll have to have like the big like nighttime gowns, like a hood. That would actually be hilarious.
Mm-hmm. I have an hoodie. I'll definitely wear an hoodie.
What's that?
It's like, you know, those like hoodies like that are super thick and they're really plush, but they look like giant hoodies, like they go down to your knees.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I
had like a hoodie dress, and I wore it all the time when I was pregnant, which I just like took it out of storage because it was with all my winter stuff. But it goes to like my ankles. It's like this long hoodie. And I like put it on. I was like, Medardo, remember this? He was like, yeah, that was like your pregnancy uniform.
He's like, bet you didn't remember me being this sexy.
Yeah. But I was comfy. One Christmas Eve, a servant girl decided she would play a trick on the Nissa. She hid the butter for his grot at the bottom of the bowl. When the Nissa saw that there was no butter on his Christmas porridge, he went to the shed and killed the best cow. He wanted to show them he did not appreciate them not giving him a little bit of butter.
Wow.
He returned to the barn to eat the porridge anyway. When he discovered the butter at the bottom of the bowl, he felt so bad that he walked to the neighbor's farm, took their best cow, and led her back to the stall of the cow that he had killed.
Oh my god.
According... Vengeful about the butter.
This is like a soap opera.
Yeah.
It's like a fake death. Food tampering.
According to legend, these domestic spirits often steal from a neighbor to increase the prosperity of the farm where they make their home. This is demonstrated in the legend of the Nissa who stole fodder. There once was a farmer who had no hay left for his farm animals. He sat one day and complained about it when he heard a voice say, "I will help you." The farmer looked around but couldn't find where the voice came from. After a few days, he noticed his animals were thriving, although they had no food. One day, the farmer decided he would take his chances and cross the ice to a neighboring village to buy some hay. When he was in the middle of the ice, a small man appeared and asked where he was going. The farmer replied that he was going to buy hay. The little man said not to worry because he would help him, so the farmer returned home. One night, the farmer noticed by moonlight a little man leading one of his cows across the ice to a neighbor's farm. When they returned, the cow was loaded down with hay. Then the farmer realized the little man was a Nissa, and he had been fetching hay for the animals.
Oh.
But he was stealing.
His heart was in the right place.
It was. But he's a dirty little thief.
Yeah. Those poor other people were probably like, what the fuck is happening to all our, like, hay?
You're right.
We're working double time here.
Yeah. And I still have no hay.
Yeah.
Similarly to the Tantu, the Nissa and Tamta are no longer needed as much as they once were and are now associated with Christmas time. The Yule Nissa, which Nissa is a derivative of Nicholas, is based upon the German Saint Nicholas. Known for his many good deeds toward children, he is portrayed the same way that the American Santa Claus is portrayed, a jolly large old man with a sack of toys, wandering around looking for good little children to give toys to for Christmas. The Yule-tomte is the Swedish version of the Julenisse. However, he is accompanied by a Christmas goat who pulls his sleigh. The pagans believed that Thor rode across the sky on a chariot led by 2 goats. Because of this, the Christians adopted the goat as a symbol of Christmas. Of course they did.
Of course they did. But also, super metal.
Right? So metal.
Hey, it's our first time this season that we can put the metal noise in. Do you remember the Krampus noise?
Oh, the Krampus noise. That's what, like, when I say that I remember almost nothing from my pregnancy, it's not a lie. I'm just like, what? Today, the goat is a benign straw figure, but still a very well-known Christmas symbol. The legends of the domestic Nisse and Tomte share the same custom as the modern-day Julenisse and Yule-tomte, in the tradition of leaving a bowl of Julegrat with butter out in the barn or in the house for them on Christmas Eve. This tradition is still practiced in Scandinavian homes.
It's cute. A little bit of
It's very cute.
porridge with some butter on it.
Butter.
Butter.
So the next one on the list is the hob, which is from Northern England. Have you heard of this one?
Hob? Or hob?
Yeah, H-O-B.
H-O-B. Sorry. No,
What?
you pronounced it all American on me. You said hob.
Is it hob? Hob.
Like, how would you pronounce H-A-B?
Hab?
It's not that different to hob. Hab.
Hob and hab are very different. Oh my god. Neve, go home.
Is this
You're
like
drunk.
a hobgoblin?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know what they are. I like to learn this.
Yeah. Okay, so hobs. Hobs.
Hobs. And this is not like, you call that a hob, like your cooker, where you heat up your dinner? No? You don't call it that.
A what?
A hob.
A hob.
A hob.
First my O's are too much and then now they're not enough. Okay. I can't.
Do you call that a hob in America?
Like the stove?
Okay. We would also call it a hob.
Okay, that's probably
Or a
what
range.
this is coming from. No,
Depending what
I
it
know
is.
range.
Yeah.
But
Ranges
nobody really
are
calls
like-
it that.
Yeah, ranges are a bit more specific. Like they're usually
Fancy.
like wood fired or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, I usually think of a range as like a fancy chef's kitchen. Anywho, the hobs, also sometimes called hobgoblins. Does it sound weird when I say hobgoblin?
No. Hobgoblin sounds, yeah, but it was just like with no context hearing you say hob. I was like, is she saying hab or hob? This word has lost all meaning.
Oh my god, I know I can't say it ever again. So, the hobs, also sometimes called hobgoblins, were viewed as kind but mischievous spirits, helpful to local people in need. A lot of household spirits are known to be related to the fairy world, as they are often seen as elves or gnomes who are in charge of taking care of the household. The hob is not related to the fairies. They were more like ugly, misshapen little creatures who looked like small, impish men. While they like to act mischievously, they are much friendlier than goblins.
Sorry, that just sounds like what my friends complaining about Tinder.
Small, impish men.
Yeah, they're like, it's hard out here.
All these hobgoblins on Tinder.
Yeah.
They would help with household chores while the family slept, and then would stretch out in front of the fire to relax once everything was done. Must be nice. One famous hob lived near Brunswick Bay in a hob hole. This hob was believed to be able to cure young children of kink cough, which is also the whooping cough.
Oh.
But, you know,
Kink
British people
cough?
always gotta, they have to call everything something else.
It's usually something quite cutesy as well.
Right. The whoopity-doopity cough.
The whippity-dippity. 19-dickety-2.
Parents would bring their sick children to the hob's cave dwelling and recite the following.
Hob, hole, hob. My bairn's got into kink cough. Take it off. Take it off. There we go. I channeled Rachel Fairburn, who's a comedian and podcaster there, by the way. I'm sorry, Rachel Fairburn.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, so they would go to the hob's cave dwelling and recite that. And then apparently that would heal the whooping cough. Or kink cough.
We don't have a doctor's appointment for 2 days, so let's go shout into a hole.
Yeah, take it off, take it off. Hobs are mainly known as household spirits who didn't come out during the day and preferred to come around at night.
Me too.
They were never tied to any one specific place and would come and go as they choose. Isn't that weird?
So these are
They were never...
traveling boys, nomadic boys.
We're the nomadic boys, like Backstreet Boys. A hob would help in various tasks and chores, such as helping the farmer out farming his field or a shopkeeper in keeping shop. Hobs would not respond well to disrespect. If a farmer were to speak badly about a hob would then retaliate by setting free the farmer's livestock or breaking dishes. Hobs never accepted gifts of clothing and would actually resent it. Because of this, the hob would immediately leave and the family would no longer receive its help.
What do they wear? It's just
They're
little
naked.
men running around?
Yeah, creepy, naked, impish men.
Ew.
There is actually a legend that a well-meaning family in Yorkshire left a small hat and cloak for their hob as a gift to thank him for helping. But when the hob received the gift, he yelled, "Ha! A cap and a hood? Hob will never do mere good."
You know? He's like really committed to being a naturist or a nudist. He's like, you can't constrict me.
And then after he said that, he was never seen again. Another Yorkshire hob, this one at Hart Hall, refused with a warning when offered a work shirt, saying,
"Gin hob mun hae nout but a harden hamp. He'll come nae mair now they're burying our stamp." Do they always speak in rhyme? That's really annoying.
Yeah, stupid hobgoblins.
It's like they're walking around, dick swinging,
Impish, healing,
bothering livestock.
cuff. And that is where I'm going to stop for today. We're going to have a part 2 of House Spirits coming out. Neve, back to you.
But before we go, since Creature Counsel was so helpful to one of our listeners last episode, we have another question in.
Isolated in Indiana,
Introverted
was it?
in Indiana.
Introverted. I always forget what the I word was.
Did we hear back from Introverted? Was he happy with his advice?
He was.
I'm glad.
He said, "Thank thee, Banshee, for me."
Well, hopefully she doesn't come back. All right. So our listener this week has a quandary to do with neighborhood etiquette. So this is from Disgruntled in Devon. What do I do about my neighbours who are parking over my driveway? It's a very good question, Disgruntled in Devon. Let's see who we have for you to answer
That
it.
is a very good question. I wouldn't know how that feels at all. Watch me draw the Banshee again. The red-headed hitchhiker.
That's good because it's car related.
See, the thing is that you got your neighbors blocking your driveway, not a problem. All you gotta do is hop in the back, hack their Bluetooth speaker, talk through it, say some creepy things, maybe some maniacal laughter, and then take a long ride with them while they're going down the street at night. It'll be great. They'll love it, and I will too.
Well, that was unsettling. Thank you, Redheaded Hitchhiker, for...
Thank you, but glad you're gone.
Yeah. All of our podcasting equipment started going real fuzzy there for a second, so hopefully everybody was able to hear the message. I get the impression that's not somebody you want to mess with. I don't know if it's the Boston accent.
Yeah, maybe don't piss him off, because I don't really want him in the backseat of my car.
Yeah. Also, sorry, Disgruntled Devon, he knows where you live now, so good luck with that.
Yeah, although he seems like he's there to help you, so that's good.
Yeah, just make sure you pay him on time if he's looking for money. I don't know.
Anywho, thank you all for listening.
I have been Neve.
And I have been Emily, but I will continue to be Emily.
We hope.
I don't know if we were recording or not, but I was telling you that my hair turned curly as I got older. My eyes turned lighter as I got older. So I guess I could change into another person.
She's slowly changing into a witchy woman to get me in her van.
I've got cheese. My plan is working.
Yeah, thanks for listening to part 1 of House Spirits. Keep an eye on your feed for part 2 coming in 2 weeks. If you have any other Creature Counsel questions, please submit them to our email address or DM us, contact us on anything in our link tree, which is in the show notes of every single episode. And fuck yeah, folklore.
Fuck yeah, folklore. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye. Hob hole hob. My bairns got taken.
Do you want to send this to me and I'll read it?
God. I was gonna say you should.
Once she got to bairns, I was like, this is not going to go well.